Hello, Horn Gods. I'm Jostrad. Welcome to Vampire the Masquerade Shadows of New York. I said that really fast. This is a sequel to Coteries of New York. And apparently it's a lot better compared to the first game. The first game had a lot of issues and I noticed it. So let's start. Unlike the other game, the game before this one, I'm playing a pre-established character instead of, you know, my own character. Welcome to my castle. Don't expect everyday logic to work here. It went out of the window sometime after midnight. Maybe earlier. My kingdom is not of this world. You see, it lies far outside of concrete, tangible reality. I tried to identify the way people reached it, and I'm convinced it has something to do with the moon. Some say the moon's aura could turn them insane. You've heard the phrases moonstruck and lunatic. The way I see it, moonlight gives them some subliminal permission to reveal their true selves. Wow. I think Coteries of New York's backgrounds were kind of animated too, so we'll see. Also, it's more purple this time. We're playing a La Sombra, one of the clans in Vampire the Masquerade. Normally I play Brujah, but this game pre-established characters. Maybe they'll go into detail about them later. And so, whenever they let the silver radiance guide them to the gates of this place, they feel different. Once they pass the doorstep, they're ready to act out. A dance of horrors and marvels begins. It's 3:31 a.m. Welcome to Big Beat Burger. If you're here at this hour, you're not exactly readying up to be a productive member of society come tomorrow morning. More likely, you're praying that the sunrise never comes. Insatiable children of the night gather round, hoping to bask in the afterglow of tonight's victories, unwind after a frustrating series of failures, or simply fight to keep themselves together. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here, greedily reveling in every interaction they have. They have no idea they are only here for my amusement. To them, I'm just a random girl sitting in the corner. But this is my domain. I've been coming here almost every night for years. I know where to sit, where to look, and where to eavesdrop for maximum amusement. I'm basically a voyeur, and I'm unashamed to admit it. It gave me insight about the human condition I'd never otherwise have gathered, and more importantly, a necessary skill set to make ends meet as a journalist. As I write on my crappy old laptop, patiently waiting for the legion of negative voices in my head to get too tired to offer useless feedback, I keep my senses peeled to pick up stories around me. You could tell this is like a parody of McDonald's, because the Mac Cafe instead they have La Cafe in a burger place. Of course, a lot of regular events such as food fights are nothing to write home about. Aside from my unfortunate tendency to become collateral damage in someone else's battles. Up to this day, I've had to wash my clothes because of Coke, Diet Coke, hot coffee, apple pie, and some sort of improvised honey mustard bomb. Every stain tells a different story. Sometimes this hobby is exhausting. Sometimes it's disturbing. Sometimes it's dangerous, although not as risky as back when I wasn't carrying pepper spray. Still, the sights I've taken in over the years here have made it absolutely worth it. I've got so many stories, I don't know where to begin. Theatrical breakups, impromptu morning parties, unexpected friendships forged in the fires of senseless battle. A lady in a gorgeous Gavauchi dress ordering a box of takeout chicken nuggets, paying in cash with her hands completely soaked in blood. She was asked if she wants a napkin. She said no. Two thirsty macho dudes shamelessly going in for it in the corner. Hash moaning filled the lobby while everyone around valiantly fights to act as usual and maintain an illusion of normalcy. Oh wow, did that at McDonald's? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. A straight-up a straight-up kung fu fight between a diminutive cashier and some drugged bodybuilder going through a psychotic episode, trying to break all the windows. The big guy left the joint fully convinced he KO'd himself while the service worker was just standing next to him, seemed proud of his victory too. A middle-aged hag getting a heart attack after screaming her lungs out to not let Muslims near her food, just because she saw a white girl wearing a hairnet behind the counter. Karen. A masked couple a masked couple robbing the restaurant of 30 hamburgers, forcing the employees to cook at gunpoint. Police later said those were art students reenacting some hipster book they read. This is life. This is humanity at its worst and best. This is the noise that serves as the foundation for my creativity. This is the somnia that keeps me going. This is... That's who we're playing as, Julia. As pathetic as it may sound, these days, this is the only place where I feel alive. Sometimes I think of myself as a leech, feeding on these people's stories, emotions, and personalities, just because I'm not satisfied with mine. That's relatable. At times, I think of my psyche as some kind of shitty postmodern construction that is fundamentally incapable of honesty, but only yearns for something felt and truthful. Does this even make any sense? I look at the screen of my laptop. 3:47 a.m. At this point, I'm almost somnambulic, but nothing interesting has happened yet. Feels like the customers are watching each other tonight, hoping for the others to provide a fun diversion. This is my turf. This is my turf, you parasitic douchebags. Next time, go find your own. I think it's time to call it a night. The coffee I always order so that they don't kick me out is undrinkable. I reread the rough draft I've been working on for the last 6 hours. God damn, this is pure trash. I hold the backspace button until the Google Documents page is nothing but a calm white slate, and let out a sound of deep relief. There's no pleasure more intoxicating for a frustrated writer than writing on someone even worse than them. And what target is easier than the dumb bitch you used to be 10 minutes ago? I check the time again. I need to go. I have an important meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. and I have a hunch it's not going to end well. And it's not because I'm an irresponsible dumbass who's going to need a few cups of coffee to simply function on a basic level despite, like, 4 hours of sleep. Wow. I'm already finding Julia relatable. It's because I always have a hunch things are not going the way they're supposed to. Click, clack, click, click, clack. The loud clutter of keyboards assaults me from all sides. Makes this splitting headache unbearable. Used to be, I dreamed of nothing else but being a part of the New York Lodestar editorial team. It was the first magazine I started reading regularly. The first magazine I ever bought for myself. Now simply hearing the word Lodestar is enough to ruin my mood. Never mind seeing all these old farts voting in more reactory opinion columns and Wikipedia level analysis of current events. Click clack, click click clack. Should I be making that sound effect or should I be like banging my keyboard to make it realistic? Nah. I might accidentally press something. They used to destroy and rebuild my entire worldview every month. They shaked up my thinking about politics, art, journalism. They even pointed me toward my favorite cigarette brand, for God's sake. And some talented people started leaving for greener pastures. Some got too wrapped up in their own neurises. Some became complacent. All of them committed the sin of allowing themselves to grow older. Fresh blood was deemed unnecessary, even though young freelancers kept being bled dry. These days, even someone from outside Lodestar talks about Lodestar. It's because of a few idealistic contributors willing to accept meager pay while putting in serious work. Dumbasses. Other than that, the magazine specializes in publishing pale echoes of proactive ideas I heard somewhere else a few years prior, wrapped in an aesthetic that hasn't been cutting edge for a decade. No wonder the readership isn't free fall. But even though the ship is sinking, the old guard won't let it go down without a fight. Hello, Spiraled. As in, if anyone from the outside attempts to board the vessels in hope of fixing its course or its holes, they will be swiftly taken care of. I should know. Been there, done that. As it stands, the only full-time staff member who doesn't make me regularly attempt to cringe my face off with his writing. Hey, Brian! Is Lodestar's editor-in-chief, Brian Legg. The man sitting in front of me right now. Of course, he only has time for editorials these days. A drop in the sea of needs. Managerial duties hit him hard. It's the second time he lets out a theatrical cough like this. He said his piece. Now it's up to me to react, and I'm coming up blank. But what do you want me to say, Brian? I'm pissed off. I can tell you've already made up your mind, but you still want to go through the motions, just to make me feel listened to. Whatever. Let's do this. Let's see. Oh, the text is different. Brian, my article isn't even something like lashing out at the rich and hoping they don't hit back. I think Double Spirals... Oh, Double Spiral! From the first game. What was her name? Montgomery's company. Clara. Yeah, Clara. I think Double Spiral's investors would appreciate being told they're being scammed. That's if, and that's a big if. They're not a conscious part of the scam. Oh, come on. And even if they weren't, I doubt they'd be generous enough to protect us from the fallout. You're avoiding the core of the issue. No, I believe I pinpointed it in a precise way. If it were up to me, I'd greenlight the article here and now. We won't be having this conversation. But you're killing the article just because some rich shithead told you he doesn't like it. Get real. This is not about some billionaire jerk calling me to make me an offer I can't refuse. What's this about then? because it looks awfully like it's about my bosses telling me this outlet can't afford the legal action we have already been threatened with. So, millionaire interference. Oh, for crying out loud, Julia, don't make me treat you like a child. You know how this works. I publish your story, it's Troll versus Gawker all over again. A lawsuit here, a lawsuit there, until we're bled dry. I have a mortgage. I have 3 months waiting. I have 3 mouths waiting to be fed at home. I have an amazing team that doesn't deserve to be torn up over some. Don't you think it's telling you mention your mortgage first? Silence. Just asking questions. I know better than to get these anti-Semitic arguments with you, Miss Swinsky. Julia Swinsky? Swinsky. You're good at them. The problem is, you're still not good enough. Meaning? You're too in love with weaving a good story and establishing a seductive narrative that let facts get in the way. You've got enough boring suits with no principle on board these days. They always give you facts because that's all they can do. I'm using facts as a way to approach some kind of truth. Except facts can blindside you, and Double Spiral has enough facts to water down your story to the point where it makes no sense to publish it. Their HR and PR are working overtime to deliver a convincing counter-narrative, and they're doing a great job. Won't mitigate the damage completely, but will put every little thing in question. Jesse Montgomery is a racist fraud, a sexual predator, and a downright satanic fuckhead. Julia. Let me say it again. Jesse Montgomery is a racist fraud, a fraud, a sexual predator, and a downright satanic fuckhead. Do you personally believe it or not? This is not... You've listened to the tapes. You've heard it. You've read the transcripts. You've seen the documents. You've seen the files. I'm not asking for your personal opinion. Do you believe it or not? Click, clack, click, clack, click. Of course I do, but that's beside the point. It's not. Look, how about I say it out loud and save us both some trouble? Some time. We're not having this conversation because there's an actual conversation to be had. You set up this meeting knowing very damn well there is only one way it's going to end. You've got a mortgage and 3 mouths to feed. You prioritize the well-being of your direct surroundings over some nebulous concept of greater good. I get it. I really do. Yet for some reason, it seems like you're only prolonging this conversation and rationalizing your decision so that I forgive you, officially exonerate you. I'm not the bad guy here, Julia. What are you then, in your own words? A man who does what is necessary to protect his own. So I don't count as your own anymore? He mutters something under his breath, ending with a self-pitying chuckle. I don't know if you'd ever want to work under a scumbag like me from now on. Come on, don't turn this into a pity party. No, I'm absolutely a scumbag. And why is that? Because I'm firing you. My thoughts are scrambled. For a brief moment, the state of my bank account displays before my eyes, with startling clarity. A howling void opens in my chest and starts traveling through towards my stomach. No, don't panic yet, you idiot. Get more information. Now there must be a catch. Let me get this straight. Ever since we've met, I've been working on stories in pieces no one else in your office would touch with a 10-foot pole. Consistently interviewing total nobodies. Always busy traveling in the middle of nowhere or regretting my lost trip. Repeatedly ordered to clean up someone else's mess. Julia. All your long-winded spirals about how the disposable work is the most important work. And suddenly you only remember the disposable part. My feelings about the quality of your work remain the same as ever. It was vital. It kept the magazine going. I will always appreciate it. Then why would you threaten to fire me? I would never threaten you. It's a done deal. They've made their decision perfectly clear. They? What they? Who is this they? He glances left and right, and then points upward for a short moment. When he speaks up again, it's in a hushed voice. You know, the big kahutas. Can't really question them, and they wanted your head on a silver platter. He's not looking me in the eye. You're not joking. I would never joke about stuff like this. It's real. Fucking hell, it's real. Damn it all to hell. All these years, all this grinding, all my plans, and for what? For what fucking asshole? You know, I deserve better. I always deserve better. And it always ends with me going down the drain to the sewers. Well, no. Take a few deep breaths. Don't lose the plot now. Keep yourself together, you idiot. The moment you show weakness, they go for your throat. Get back in control. You can't do this. I wish I didn't have to, but it's a lost cause. No, I mean, it's impossible. Julia. You can't fire someone who's never been hired in the first place. It takes him a few seconds to put on his "oh, I get it" face, let out a troubled gasp, and start massaging his temples. Lone Star has become my biggest source of income for the past few years. That much is true, but technically nobody has ever hired me here. It was all freelance jobs. A full-time position only served as a kind of dangling carrot, a promise of decent pay, career perspectives, maybe even some kind of insurance to save my failing health. Oh, Julia's sick. And the recognition I would get for being a part of Lodestar team, a position that everyone around me seems to respect, aside from me. Then why did I want it so much? Well, you did say bank account. There will be time to mourn what could have been. For now, I should act like I don't care. You know what I mean. If I let you work even under a fake name, it would be a guillotine for me. This is ridiculous. You know I'm going to start shopping this story around the second I leave this room, don't you? Of course I know. I told him. And he respond? Let us worry about that. Well, that doesn't sound ominous at all. Click, clack, click, clack, click. I do wonder if I could get accustomed to one of these loud mechanical keyboards some people here love to use. Whenever I did my work in here, I was still expected to bring my own crappy laptop and sit closer to the lobby. Always on the outside, no matter how hard I tried to break in. A vibration in my back pocket feels like a bad omen. I decide to ignore it for now. I've been working on this fucking story for, I don't know, 16 months on and off. I know. You kept cheering me on. I know. We have even agreed on the pay I'd receive. I know. I'm 2 months behind on my rent. No, wait, 2.5. I catch him off guard. He is momentarily taken back, and then gives me an emphatic stare. Don't look at me this way. You don't have the right. I didn't know. Well, now you do. Look, if there's anything I can do to help. If you can't tell your big kahunas to fuck off, I don't think there's a single thing. Julia. I pull up a smoke and light it up. Gotta get back in control. Please don't do that. There's a smoke detector here. No worries. I nicked it off a few weeks ago. Probably the most creative thing he's done it. Wait. No worries. Nick turned it off a few weeks ago. Probably the most creative thing he's done in the past 5 years. Good old Nick. The perfect 21st century cinema reviewer. Never has an original thought of his own. Just relies on his purely algorithmic taste to stay likable. And the best thing is, it works. Honey, I used to dream about his job. It was Brian who killed this dream, making me realize Nick won't be unseated anytime soon, and offered to teach me the ways of an investigative journalist instead. Wasn't the career I ever wanted to pursue, but to my dismay, I turned out to be surprisingly good at it until this Montgomery thing happened. Serves me right. Lesson learned. Should have pursued my dream instead. Sorry. Stop it. Nicholas is a good friend, a respected critic, a member of my team, and put out that smoke. People tell me I let you step all over me. Why do I even let you act this way? Because you once told me honesty is most important in a mentor-student relationship, and that it works both ways. And because I thought we were friends. He bites his lip and stares sideways to avoid my eyes. At the end of the day, bosses aren't friends. Must have been a terrible mentor if I didn't teach you that. Yeah, could have been a bit better. Heh. There's too much shared history between us, so I'm reluctant to make this parting of ways too bitter. I might have failed as a guide, but I will do what I cannot to leave you stranded, okay? There are options, but none of them are a remedy for all your troubles, but... wait a second. Another vibration in my pocket. Another foreboding feeling. This time, I reluctantly take the smartphone out of my pocket. If it has to rain, why not let it pour? A new email, a lengthy one. And the sender? Speak of the devil. No, this can't be. Christ. I just got an email from Mila Lopez. She claims she's just been laid off from Double Spiral, same as Mike Antonov and Jerry Rivera. What? What happened? I'll spare you all her insults, okay? The key thing is, it seems their HR knows all the confidential information about my journalistic investigation and used it to shut everyone's mouth. Hell, apparently Montgomery walked up to Lopez as she was emptying her desk and told her to thank me for being a, quote, dumb and useless cunt. Brian goes pale. I think he has a very good reason to. You fucking scumbag. You outed my sources? What? What? Of course not. What are you even saying? Oh, don't you dare play coy. It was... It must have been either you or me. No one else, and you know the way I work. My investigations are basically untraceable, both on and offline. Carefully picked meeting spots, encryption upon encryption, every direct quote rewritten 5 times, just in case. All sorts of red herrings scattered around. I know my shit. You know I do. And this timing? Did you just pass a flash drive to your beloved Big Kahunas during a meeting as a sign of goodwill? Look, I get you're upset, but why don't we just talk this through calmly? Fury takes the wheel, and I mean, he betrayed me, so I have the right to be pissed. Fury takes the wheel, and I'm just here along for the ride. I can't do anything about it. In a deranged way, realizing you're just a passenger in your own body feels liberating. Let's just see it all unfold. Calmly? Fuck you, Brian. Julia. I've been paranoid for months and months, acting like everyone I didn't know was an assassin or a corporate spy. I know I haven't messed up. Not in a way that could implicate all of them. I mean, they were all fucking, so I guess they were all angry, but this is the angriest. You goddamn... You thought you could get away with this? I haven't done anything improper. Don't push the blame on me. So what? You're claiming it's my fault? Because you're never the guilty one? It's always the bosses, the economy, the obligations you have, and now me? You're being silly. Quit this Marty bullshit. Calm down or I'll have to... You moral shithead, you motherfucking... Calm down for God's sake. And so it goes. I yelled out a lot of words I wanted to say for a long time, but held back. I flung a lot of insults I've been workshopping for years, hoping I'll never use them. I break a few times. At times, for a split second, I see pity in somebody's eyes. It's gonna haunt me for a long time. In the heat of the moment, I don't care. These people? No, this company has nothing left to offer me. So at least let me take this catharsis. In the end, a security guard has to escort me out of the building, and that's the end of my journalistic career. I just feel like my world has crumbled into nothing. Dakota. I mean, you have every right to. Like, Jesus, if I were you, I would have already broken down into a sobbing mess. I'd love to, but I'm on a subway. Far too proud to cry in public, even now. And... Oh, this is her girl. Unlike Cauteries of New York, I didn't go into this game purely blind. I did some research, and I know Dakota is her girlfriend. It's stupid. But I feel like someone out there keeps destroying everything I hold dear, just to see my reaction. Like it was a prank show, and someone was willing to record me crying. So, out of sheer spite, I'm doing my best not to cry. Fuck you, whoever and whatever you are. That's the Julia Sawalski thing I've heard. That's the most Julia Sawalski thing I've heard. Most. Okay, let me reread it. I'm getting dumb. That's the most Julia Sawalski thing I've ever heard. Spite as the great motivator, huh? I'm not feeling particularly motivated to do anything right now. To be honest, I just want to stay in my bed until my shithead landlord calls the cops to forcefully evict me. Not surprised. Shit. I know that whenever life decides to fuck you over, it's always one thing after another, but this is too much. How much is too much? Let's recap this last week of June 2019. Huh, this game takes place in 2019. I've been kicked out of my job. Well, not that I've ever been hired. So let's just say my mentor broke every vague promise he ever made to me. A big thing I'd been working on for a year and a half went down the toilet. It's all useless. My boss didn't protect my sources properly, and now they keep trying to reach me through every possible channel to threaten me or just yell at me. And they have every right to react like that. All of my side gigs were shut down. Nobody's replying to my emails. Everyone's been dragging my name through the mud, behind the scenes, and it worked. I have no idea who's sending these shitty messages around. I've been asking, but... Listen, don't worry about it. I'm not going to stand dilly-dally and watch you get cancelled by some mean-spirited delusional... I said don't worry about it. I have 3 unread messages from my landlord. The message preview were stressful enough. A call came from Chicago. Apparently Dad has bladder cancer. Mom is in hysterics. She'd go crazy if she heard about my situation, so I have to pretend everything is okay whenever she calls. And she calls every day, and she won't hang up before she offloads her burdens on me. And I can't blame her because we all had to cope with Dad's psychopathic tendencies somehow. I was robbed. All my documents and and what little money I had gone. Don't even know when or where it happened, and it's driving me crazy because I'm always extremely wary of pickpockets. The list goes on. I feel bad for her. From some of the basic things I heard about this game is apparently there's 2 main endings. Apparently the good ending feels like a bad ending, and the bad ending feels like a good ending. So, yeah. This is gonna be fun. I don't want to sound paranoid, but it feels like a concentrated attack. Concerted attack. Why did I say concentrated? That was concerted. Paranoid is good. Anyway, I know you always handle this topic away. Wait. Paranoid is good. Anyway, I know you always handle this topic away, but just remember that if anything happens, my place is your place. You don't have to get through it alone. I do. I've always been a trouble magnet, and as self-centered as I may be, I don't want it to affect you. I know. Listen, I have an hour call. Alright, just call me if anything happens, no matter how dumb it seems, okay? And swing by whenever you can. I will. Thank you. See you. I put my phone away, exhausted and blankly stare in front of me. Christ. I glance at my reflection in the window. Just look at this idiot. Whenever the situation requires me to dress formally, I still feel like a child cosplaying as an adult. Should have just followed the dress for the job you want advice and continue dressing up like a trust fund kid who keeps partying on Brooklyn rooftops for years without a care in the world. It's only after a while that I realize the car is empty, unnaturally so. I start feeling uneasy, but someone enters my peripheral vision. I'm guessing she's my sire. And that's the last thing I consciously register. The world dissolves. There it is, the familiar veiny black screen. When I come to it, I'm out of the subway, standing in a back alley I don't recognize. It's pretty dark. My eyes start to adjust, and I try to figure out what happened. There's a gun in my head. A faint silhouette at my feet. It's not moving. Somebody stands in front of me, covered in shadows. I can't fully make out her face, but she's staring at me with visible intent. She speaks. Her voice is raspy and androgynous, her tone hateful and mocking. Aren't you a nasty one? I'm gonna try to do minimal voice acting. What's going on? Who are you? Don't play coy. My mind goes blank. I look at the ground. There's a body riddled with bullet holes, and I recognize who it was. The corpse belongs to Mike Antonov, one of the double spiral whistleblowers. My source. He was just threatening to get back at me a few hours ago. Before I feel even the tiniest bit of compassion, I face a terrible realization. They will think I'm guilty. Oh my god, am I guilty? How's this real? You have done something to me, haven't you? Back in the subway. That was you, wasn't it? Hey man. A man bleeding at your feet, and you're turning this around on me, somehow? I haven't done anything to him. Again, don't play coy. He knew him. He was mad at you. You started telling him sob stories about your situation. He wasn't having none of it. You got mad. Things escalated. He died. This isn't true. It's plausible, but that doesn't make it true, or does it? This is just a nightmare. It doesn't even make sense. It must be a dream. And if it wasn't, the person in front of me must be responsible. There's a faint voice in my head, screaming that it's her world that I'm just living in. What the fuck have you done to me? Nothing yet. But I'll do what I can to get you locked up for life. This is a murder in the first degree with special circumstances. Her detached voice and nonsensical tone only reassures me this can't be real. I refuse to believe it is. Before I even manage to think this through, I point the gun at her. If I did murder him, you wouldn't be acting like that. You wouldn't be standing in front of me. You'd be running away, calling the police, begging for help, yelling that I'm a psycho. Oh, but you are a psycho, and I'm not a coward. I won't let you walk out of here alive. This doesn't make a single lick of sense. Tears well up in my eyes. Why are you doing this? Because sometimes one has to confront what they're really made of. There's no two ways about it. She's gonna be nuts. Slowly but surely, she starts walking toward me. Stop right there or I'll shoot. Go on. It's the only way you can get off the hook, isn't it? The only way you can survive. But you will definitely prove you are the monster I claim you are. What the fuck is this tone? So controlling. If inauthentic, patronizing. I'm serious. For your own sake, you'd better be. She keeps getting closer. I can't do male voices, so I probably won't really do male voices, even though I'm doing minimal voice acting. Maybe I did kill Antonov. I mean, I would have voice acted with Brian. Maybe I don't deserve to live. Maybe it's less tiring not to live. Maybe I should just let her take care of me. Maybe I will just wake up. Or maybe this insane reality needs to be rejected as violently as possible. Maybe a world that wants to destroy me deserves to be destroyed. She's right in front of me. It's now or never. I close my eyes and squeeze the trigger. I mean, apparently the character I don't like in this game, in the last game, dies in this game and I have to investigate it. So I'm gonna be neutral cop, I guess. There will be sometimes I'll be gentle, but there'll be sometimes I'll be violent. A loud bang echoes through the alley. I'm afraid to look at what I've done. I've been to a shooting range once and felt absolutely horrified by pistols. Such a small thing, but it can easily puncture a hole in the fabric of in the reality it is made of. Never knew I'd be able to use it against another human being. The very thought makes me want to puke. You were the right choice after all. I'm so glad. You haven't allowed yourself to break, but you've crossed the line. I needed you to cross. There's a single flame in you that could become an inferno if left unchecked. I sure hope it will. She's still alive. Her voice is coming from behind me. She puts her hands around my waist, and her cold mouth touches my neck. I can feel my shirt getting violently torn off. I don't understand, but I'm too dazed to protest. That was your final test. Congratulations. You've proven yourself worthy. Wait, when did I change into this outfit? Oh wow, this song. I can feel something sharp sliding into my neck. It's not too painful. It's just startling. Think, a doctor pushing a needle into your vein without a proper warning. Then it hits me. Pure bliss. The kiss. The dopamine receptors I've considered completely fried until now suddenly recover and start bombarding me with pleasure I've never known before. I finally let the tears go. They come flooding. They've been waiting for years. It's such a relief. Is it raining? I feel like I'm in the middle of a deluge. At least, washing away all of my fears, all of my sorrows, all of my anger, all of my pain, all of my ego. I become one with the world, and the woman behind me, she's holding me tight, making me feel like the only important thing in this world. Everything else blurs. I feel something intense towards her, something I've never felt before. Is this love? I hope it is. This is not you. This is not you, hisses a familiar, cynical voice in the back of my head. But it's okay. I never felt particularly fond of me anyway. New York, you're perfect. Oh please, don't change a thing. He laughs. He who laughs in the shadows always has the last laugh. Hallelujah, praise be. When everything is cliche, nothing is. Isn't that the ever-distant utopia I've been chasing all along? People on the other trains, I hope you're doing fine. God, shut up. Just enjoy it. Wow, Julia's poetic. You finally understand. She's making love to me. She's giving birth to me. She's burying me. Oh, familiar background. I'm pretty sure I've been dead for a while. I'm pretty sure I could stare at my own corpse in her hands from a distance. For a moment somehow. And then I'm alive again. She lifts her mouth from my neck. No, wait, I taste blood in my mouth. Was I drinking her blood too? I realize that whatever this was, it's over, and I have to bask in the afterglow while I still can. I almost immediately understand that I'm going to chase this fleeting feeling for the rest of my existence. Finally, she lets out a whisper that concludes the ceremony. Now, no matter what happens next, don't forget, you're a monster. But you were lucky enough to be born in a world of monsters, so don't you ever mourn that fact. Embrace it. Oh, this one actually has a title screen. Vampire the Masquerade. Once again, I find myself in Big Beat Burger. Familiar surroundings. Faces I recognize. Mood, same as it ever was. Still, I process it. I process it an entirely different way. It all frustrates me now. Or more precisely, makes me frustrated with myself. It's like I'm clinging to the remnants of a cocoon I've outgrown. Well, that's a better outfit compared to the suit. Ugh. It's the same with these cigarettes. I don't need them anymore. So why do I keep holding on to them? Fucking hell. It's like I refuse to accept that I'm something better than I used to be. A vampire. Just 2 nights ago, I met Karen. Oh wow, her name's actually Karen. She embraced me. Which, I mean, turned me into a kindred. She calls herself my sire, and me her child. Ooh, I like this shade of... It's like a purplish pink. How a vampire turns their human prey into a fellow vampire. For whatever reason... I'm just checking if they're different to coteries, but I don't really remember coteries. Like most. The details are a bit more gruesome than whatever romanticized image Hollywood has shoved down everyone's throat over the years. Unless you think total extubation followed by the replacement of your vital bodily fluids by someone else's sounds romantic. A term of fellowship among vampires, though to have been coined after an anarch uprising of sort, but the Camarilla doesn't talk about that much. Probably misread that. Oh, they're in first-person perspective rather than Wikipedia articles like coteries, because this time you're an actual character. Sire, the one who makes you a bloodsucker, a vampire's name for parent. Mine was Karen. Child, what a sire calls his or her vampire progeny. When they're being naughty. Sort of like an exhausted mom calls their kid by their first name. Also tends to be the go-to when someone feels like they're out of arguments and needs to make their seniority known. Plural form is childer. Last night, she taught me the basics of survival. Drinking blood, manipulating humans, bending steel, controlling the shadows. That was... Because I'm a La Sombra, my disciplines are dominance, so basically mind control, potence, super strength, which we've seen a lot, and the other one was oblivion, which is the ability to control shadows, which is new to 5th edition, but it was called something else in the earlier editions. And oblivion is like a mixture of other old disciplines that Paradox decided to stick together. Tonight, I expected more lessons. Instead, she just told me to go out and enjoy myself. What's the catch? I asked. To which she responded, I might kill you if you prove to be a disappointment. There are a few rules I have to uphold. The Masquerade. I can't contact anyone I knew as a human. I can't let anyone realize I'm not human anymore. I can't embrace anyone, and so on. You need to get the prince's permission. I mean, La Sombra used to be the Sabbat, which is like another sect of vampires. who didn't really care about humans, they just thought they were superior. It's hard to go into detail, but the Sombra has since joined the Camarilla in 5th edition. The Masquerade. The systematic secrecy of vampires built to conceal our world from mankind in order to protect us. Essentially, the Masquerade is our own shield against the fear and ignorance of human beings. Make no bones about it, if the vast majority of people ever learned we exist, we would be hunted to extinction. I mean, there's a second Inquisition. Otherwise, I'm free to do whatever I want. But for some reason, the first thing I did was come back here. Old habits die hard. Karen is probably watching me from somewhere even now. The way I understand it, tomorrow night she is supposed to introduce me to the Camarilla, a local society of vampires. The Camarilla, the big boys and girls in town. The largest vampire sect I know of. Plays well with morals, or rather, plays morals like a fiddle. Manipulative and rigid in structure. Almost feudal. Really, there's a prince involved, no joke. Heavily invested in maintaining the Masquerade and other so-called traditions, which helps with the two furious points. Turns out they are the only ones who could have systematically ruined my life lately. Only part of somewhat secret evaluation that I barely passed. Just imagining the reach they have makes me dizzy. After they destroyed the old me that I barely cared about, Karen rebuilt me anew. On one hand, her tests left some scars I will take time to heal. On the other hand, maybe I should be grateful? I snapped out of my thoughts by a sudden scream. Some douchebags yelling at me about his fries not being salty enough. I think this is my key to leave. Permanently. Goodbye, BBB. Hope I never see you again. I'm destined for greater things, you see. Huh. They really just throw us into this. The risk of wiping. This Tinder addict smells like a loser. I want to be intellectual, a source. Violent savior time. Two men are facing each other in a dark black alley. One of them stands with his back against the wall, his chest heaving as he's struggling to catch his breath. People, anybody out there? I'm being robbed. A burly rugged man is yelling at metal staircases with a theatrical incredibility in his voice. But I also kinda wanted to tease that little Tinder freak. Did I say Tumblr? I got that wrong. With a lively step, he dances around an older man who's having trouble finding his footing. I don't know. What is this bullshit? Also, now you can talk. Good. Because I'm dying to hear what you did to my wallet, Holmes. Wallet? I have no idea what you're talking about. The goon starts prancing around like a Muay Thai boxer. He's smiling, but his eyes send a clear message. You're cornered, buddy. Don't even think to pull a fast one on me. Come on, homeboy. You may be able to trick an average Joe on the street with your act, but a fighter recognizes a fighter. It's like an animal thing. It's an instinct thing. I'm not the one being robbed. I'm watching this happen. You got some moves on you. You're like shit. You're like a black mamba. Lightning fast reflexes. Also, I did say there's going to be minimal voice acting in this. I'm not gonna do any male voices because I can't do male voices right now. I want to practice to do male voices. I'm supposed to be unknown gender and I can't do one voice. He starts shadowboxing for a moment. The man's definitely got energy to spare. However, I'm like a king cobra. You've met your match. 2 apex predators locked in battle. Oh, so you're seeing snakes? That would explain something. Before he's able to finish, a sucker punch knocks the air out of his lungs. The old man slides down the wall. Before he can let out a groan, he's interrupted by a brutal kick to the chest. I would. I mean, I was considering doing Darth Plagueis the Wise. Because, yeah, I've reached 300. That's what I'm talking about. A fighting spirit, even when you're cornered. Ugh. Take a seat. Deep breath. Collect your thoughts before you speak up again. Remember where you put my wallet now. Remember where you put my wallet now? I think I'm pretty sure you broke my rib. An eye for an eye, a rib for a ribbing. Biblical punishment. It's only fair, homie. Fair? At least admit that this is a mugging. Wallet my ass. Still in denial. Okay. Let's say I had about 5,000 bucks in there. Give me 6 grand and I'll let you walk away. Relatively unharmed. So you admit it? Admit what? That this is not about proper compensation? This is a robbery. Look, buddy, this is beginning to bore me. Unless you want me to go Anderson Sylvia on your ass. Give me what I want. Anderson Sylvia? Yeah, Anderson Sylvia. A flying knee meeting your solar plexus. The man, the myth, the legend. It confused Ragnar. Yeah, it was in his server, wasn't it? Well, it was last year or 2 years ago. I've been doing this for almost 3 years now. My anniversary is in July. Now that I think about it. I haven't even given it some thought. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Thai boxing, Western boxing, Taekwondo, Wing Chun, and Capoeira combined into a single fighting style that can only be described as straight-up murder. Really? This year just started. I lost track of time. I've been studying the glorious singularity that is Anderson Silva for years. Every move I have, I owe to him. So if you don't want this snake to turn into a deadly spider, show me the money, honey. Summer 2013, Las Vegas. Huh? Watch it live on pay-per-view. Wildman saw through all of Sylvia's tricks, whooped his ass, broke his spirit, showed him for the fraud he is. The man hasn't been the same since. Huh. I really am losing track of time. All the empty showboating, hollowing, taunting, drunk on his own Kool-Aid. Jesus, of course you idolize him, asshole. For a good minute, the goon silently looks down at the whimpering man, chewing on his lower lip. When he finally speaks up, his voice betrays an intent to kill. You know what, homeboy? Screw the money. This is a matter of honor now. My thoughts exactly. He raises his fist. We've got ourselves a mixed martial arts expert here, huh? For your own sake, I hope you could back the talk with some self-defense skills, homie. Boasting your self-esteem by beating up an injured old geezer? God damn, you're pathetic. He jumps at the sound of my voice, turns my way in the blink of an eye, and immediately assures a combat stance. His reflexes are sharp. Looks like he has at least this much to back up his bravado. Wannabe Anderson Sylvia's face betrays utter confusion upon seeing me. He's got no idea how I managed to sneak up on him. I don't blame him. I wouldn't be able to explain it myself. It felt like I became one with the darkness. My pure consciousness traversing a dusky dreamscape, jumping from one shadow to another as if they were different trains of thought. I think of some experiences I've had with psychedelics. Every blink an adventure. I was outside of this alley. Blink. I was above the alley. Blink. Now I'm in front of this guy. And he pisses me off. The older man slams down. Looks like he was trying his best to keep it together and gave up once chivalry arrived. Cavalry. Why did I say chivalry? Cavalry arrived. The goon regains his composure and barks at me in an overly gruff way. The way you sneaking around... Wait, the hell are you sneaking around here for, Chica? Move along, this is between men. Not anymore. His fist turned towards me. I'm serious. And I'm equal opportunity ass kicker. I respond to the threat with the brightest, most innocent, virginal smile I could put on. So, you're into shadow boxing, huh? Something comes over me. I can feel the darkness embracing me, whispering sweet nothings in my ear, pumping me up for what's to come. I've always wanted to do this. I zoom in, duck below his fist, and sweep him off his feet with a powerful roundhouse kick. It's probably the dumbest, flashiest thing I could have done, but I'm more confident than ever. He flies into the air, only managing not to fall because of the wall behind him. I know what he's thinking. I should have blocked it. And he absolutely should have. But instead, he just flailed his arms helplessly, as if he suddenly found himself in front of an oncoming train. A primal expression of fear that suddenly completely took him over. I don't know how I look right now, but judging by his expression, my best guess is like a gaping maw of some primordial beast. I follow up the surprise attack with another punch to the solar plexus, or at least my nearest estimate. Once again, the effect terrifies even myself. Looks like my hunch was correct, and I hit the right spot. He falls to the floor, whining like a wounded animal, tears streaming down his face. I let him collect himself a bit, and then grab him by his chin. Learn to choose your battles, homeboy. Let me go. For Christ's sake, just let me go. I kick him in the direction. Now this is true violent savior. I kick him to the direction of the alley entrance. He staggers off, quickly disappearing from my sight. I check on his victim. Looks like he's conscious. Wow, you whooped his ass, girl. But hasn't noticed anything out of order. Good. I was getting worried I might have overdone it a bit. That woman did say that keeping a low profile will be crucial if I want to survive. You alright? Need help? He manages to stand up. His smile is strained, but it suggests he's fine. At least trying his best to seem fine. No, he gave me all the help I needed. And then some. Thank you, miss. What's your name? Jessica. Thanks, Jessica. I was worried for a second, but this asshole's bark was worse than his bite. He's probably in worse shape than me now. I guess that counts as a victory. I'd be going. My wife is probably worried sick. But before that, if there's anything I can do to repay you. I want to celebrate tonight. Where would you go if you were me? Celebrate? Huh. First thing that comes to your mind. I want to feel alive. Times Square? Times Square. Jeez, get the fuck out of here with that tourist bullshit. I came here a few weeks ago myself. Still haven't managed to see it, and I always wanted to. In the movies, it always seemed so full of life, so... Not so full of life at this time of night. And not that interesting in general. Although, I think you just helped me come up with an idea. Glad to hear. Take care, will ya? You two, avoid shady spots next time. I probably won't be around to bail you out. And there he goes. Avoid shady spots, huh? Glad I no longer have to abide by my own advice. No more worrying about being out after midnight. No more feeling uneasy whenever I spot a shady asshole across the street ever. I thought I could drink out of the bully. I wanted to drink out of the bully. Well, I could start jogging to Central Park after midnight. Now, not that I need to. The future's looking bright. He lowers his eyes awkwardly, thinking how to proceed with his rant. Some dude. It's like the conversation isn't really smooth, huh? Yeah. It's like I keep throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks, but nothing seems to stick for long. You understand, yeah? Uh-huh. It's really this lack of context that's killing me about online dating. It's bad enough when a few photos and a single sentence are all you have to rely on when starting conversation, yeah? But when a cosmic miracle finally happens, she's actually willing to keep replying to you, and she's actually down to meet up with you eventually, and you're out there sitting with her. And after 90 minutes, you still don't have shared context. There's no clue whatsoever. It's just like, take me out and put a bullet in my head and put me out of my misery. Uh-huh. I'm seriously just being Julia right now, like, uh-huh, yeah, keep talking, buddy. Yeah, I'm totally listening to your rant. It's just one of those dates, and it's like, we've been sitting here for ages, and the only thing she has a prolonged interest in is getting hammered as soon as possible. Just one drink after another. And the more drunk she is, the more familiar she's getting. And these little things, you know, touching my upper arm after each joke. Her arm around my shoulder. Her jokingly punching my waist. The escalation is subtle, but steady. In addition, one recurring topic appears, and that is all cool shit she has, and wishes she could have shown me. Oh, too bad it's all back in her apartment. That's when it hit me. She just wants to sleep with me. No way! That was sarcastic. Yeah, well, eventually we both ran out of ideas for topics that could potentially be interest to both of us. So I'm just like, yeah, I'd sure love to see all the crap in your apartment. So we Ubered there, and admittedly pretty nice apartment, like nothing too fancy, but I could tell her dad is the kind of asshole I'd like to punch in the face if I ever met him. You know what I mean? So she guides me to the kitchen and makes me some tea, a rare Indian blend. Forgot what it was 5 minutes later. Then excuses herself and goes to the bathroom and doesn't come back. 10 minutes later, I run out of tweets to read and become a little concerned. I start looking around. The first thing that catches my eye is the kitchen table. And... oh boy. The table is surprisingly large, and covered in neatly arranged documents like some connected dots investigation board. Mafia conspiracy kind of thing. Actually, I take interest. It takes 20 seconds to process what it is. Her entire mental health history, sorted chronologically, and all the juicy stuff neatly underlined in color. And I mean, it's all in... it's all in there. A detailed description of her fucked up household, situations over the years, anxiety, ADHD, bouts of depression. Yeah, I feel like this guy's gonna die. Like, he's being preyed on by Tinder people. I never really trusted online dating. Then again, I'm aromantic, so I never really had interest in them in the first place. Suspicions of schizophrenia, severe BTD, some weird psychosexual stuff with her brother. I keep reading and remember what I said about throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. I'm dead certain that's how... wait, that's how her shrinks went about diagnosing her. And the coat. I mean, I technically have the same coat in real life, but my one's more feminine in design, I guess. I'm not confirming my gender. I'm just, you know. Yep. He kind of looks like an off-brand Asian Peter Parker. She finally comes out of the bathroom like an hour after she went in. At this point, I've read all of the shit on the table 3 times, and not just the stuff she's highlighted for my convenience. I feel like right now I understand her better than like someone who's read Crime and Punishment understands Schwarzkopf. I love, but also the mama dread. Thanks, I guess. I mean, I am aromantic, but I do have caring instincts, I guess. Like, I do want to take care of people, but not in the romantic sense. Like, I want to be like a guide, like someone people can rely on, I guess. Someone who can talk to me. Hello, Gypsy. The vampires are always masquerading. If they're not masquerading, they'll get hunted by humans. So a vampire must always masquerade. Raskolnikov? I can't pronounce that. And I'm not happy about it. Like, at all. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. She walks in with a cheerful hi. I respond with a slick, oh good. She nods. Does this weird finger gun thing and chuckles. I pretend I've been doing work-related stuff on my phone the whole time. The small talk starts. A minute in, she casually picks up one of the documents on the table and starts doing these super obvious body language cues that are like, oh no, how did this get here? Jaws wants to be a rock. Well, I wouldn't call myself solid. Or buff, if you're talking about that rock. I'm practically dying inside, but I put on my cool face and make it look like I'm not here. Sorry, gotta reply to my boss. Yeah, he's working 24/7. Psycho motherfucker, yeah, hahaha. But she slowly collects the documents, puts them away, and then nonchalantly asks me about the timeout. While I'm feeling crushed by all kinds of trauma I've just learn about. The apartment starts feeling like a coffin. All of a sudden, she picks up a kitchen knife and starts playing with it with his zoomed out stare. I'm fucking mortified. So what do you think I did? You ran away? The thought crossed my mind, but nah. As usual, I took the dumbest course of action and fucking slept with her. You don't stick your thinking crazy! What is wrong with you? Are you that desperate? Sheesh, you're a horn dog. Well, don't come running to me when it stabs you in the back. Like, quite literally. That's how the worst 6 months of my life began. And I couldn't even say I didn't see it coming. God, I'm such a slut. At least you admit it. And also, I think they broke up. He leans back and groans, while hiding his face behind his palms. I look at his neck. Every vein seems so visible, and impossibly alluring. I don't think I ever looked at anyone's neck like that. I realize I feel insanely thirsty. Damn, I know. It sure took a turn. Years ago, when this rant began, it was about continental philosophy. What? Sorry, can you say that again? He seems pretty drunk, barely able to focus on anything, but his current train of thought, just what I was hoping for. Years ago when this... Never mind. It's stuffy in here. I wanna go out, get some fresh air. You haven't touched your drink. I mean, I would if I could. No more alcohol for me. What? No, this isn't mine. I mean, some dude bought it for me, but I don't want it. He scans the room with a death stare, looking for the guy who did it, not realizing his best chance of finding him is in a mirror. Then he drinks like half of my glass at once while looking around, as if he was hoping to prove his dominance over any unseen enemy. Okay, after you. We're walking across a mostly empty street. He's focused on walking upright and walking in a straight line. I'm focused on finding a spot where I can drink him up. You seem like bad news. Oh yeah? So why don't you just leave me alone? Determinism, I guess. You're really into crazy. Well, unfortunately for you, you literally caught the attention of an actual vampire. I roll my eyes, and that's when I noticed it. A deep, unlit stairwell. I look around and realize there's no one around. This is my chance. I immediately yank him downstairs. It was pitch black, but I can still see his face. He doesn't seem shocked. It's more like awkwardness. Can I kill this guy? He has so many death flags, he might... You don't have to kill him. I'm pretty sure he's gonna get himself killed. Now listen, it's not that I, never wanted to do this sort of thing in public. Quite the opposite. It's just that I need a certain degree of comfort to, perform at optimal levels. Oh, shut up. I sink my fangs into his neck as he whimpers and becomes silent. Finally, that's what I've been waiting for the past hour. He relaxes in my arms, and I relax with him. It's all like the drinks I had to deny myself until now. After putting my head all at once, with no unpleasant side effects, I feel radiant. I don't want this moment to end. But it has to. I drop his body to the floor and lick the wound close, just the way she taught me. His pulse is faint but steady. He reeks of booze. If anyone finds him, there should be no suspicions. Kinky. I'm not sure if you were here, but it's explained every time a vampire drinks from someone, the person doesn't go through pain. They go through this thing called the kiss. The kiss makes the victim feel relaxed. It gives them euphoria. And then once a vampire stops drinking from them, they heal the wounds, and the victim is in trance for a few seconds, minutes, depends. Then you could leave, and they won't remember what the victim won't remember what the vampire did to them because they were in such a state of bliss. As I walk up the stairwell, I insert a finger in my mouth and try to sense my fangs. No dice. It really seems they really are retractable. Oh, that's handy. Even though retractable, in Bloodlines you could see who the vampires are. The hunger pangs are gone. I wrap my hands around my body. I feel comfortable, hopeful, happy. Can't remember the last time I enjoyed life like this. Now, let's keep this going. Let's keep this party going. Oh wow, this is cool. Wow, what a night. I catch Times Square from above. It's beautiful. Never thought this place could make me emotional. Would make me emotional, to be honest. But here I am. Feeling deeply moved. Who would have thought? Kill the heretic, did I do? Warhammer? He was still trying to teach me Warhammer stuff. He's still calling me Slanesh though. The guy I saved from a beatdown will probably get bored of this place 5 minutes after an obligatory selfie. Although, I guess one's enjoyment of these sites depends on a great deal of perspective. In any case, I'm glad he gave me the idea. Getting up here was surprisingly easy. All things considered, took more thought than physical effort. I mean, you can. I have like 5 people teaching me Warhammer right now, and all 5 people are calling me Slanesh. All I know about Slanesh is that they're androgynous. They're the chaos prince of excess, pain, and pleasure. I don't know how I compare. Earlier tonight, I started experimenting with my body's limits. I realized I can jump over small buildings and climb steep walls with ease now. Spider-Man! I feel like Spider-Man! And my perception of space has shifted. Like, even though there are disciplines for super speed and super strength, vampires already have like above average strength and above average speed. The discipline just boosted further. And I'm comparable to Slanesh. I plan a scenic route across the rooftops. I did my best to avoid attracting attention. Really? I'll ask Heba and the other guys that. I mean, I am half demon, so yeah. I did my best to avoid attracting attention, as I was told. Stayed in the shadows as much as humanly possible. I spot a drone from afar. For a second, I feel uneasy. I remember what she told me. Machines won't get a clear view of me anymore. Camera footage photos, it's all glitched out or blurry. Oh, like Cyberpunk. Wouldn't take it for granted if I didn't try to catch my reflection early on. I couldn't see my face clearly. Not in the mirror, not even a puddle. My face looks like one of Delhi's clocks. Oh yeah, La Sombra's clan weakness is that they can't really see themselves in mirrors. Well, they can. It's blurry and messy. I think they're based off the vampire myth where a vampire can't see the reflection. Fun fact, the reason why a vampire can't see the reflection was because in the past, mirrors were made from silver, and vampires were weak from silver. She told me to keep a low profile, regardless. Someone might take note and track you down. She didn't care to elaborate, but it didn't sound encouraging. Suddenly, it hits me that I might never be able to see my own face again. I wouldn't even be able to take care of my own looks by myself. And what about the long-term psychological effects? I mean, I'm pretty sure. I think they compare me to Slanesh because apparently I could easily manipulate people with my voice. And also, I'm a music student. And apparently, they told me Slanesh is all about music, and apparently it didn't help that I used to do track back in primary school, and apparently Slanesh is all about speed. But even though I try to defend myself, they're like, no, you're Slanesh. A knot of anxiety tightens in my stomach. Jesus, this is probably just the tip of the iceberg. What else is going to change? Calm down. Wait a second. These past few nights have been the best of my life. For years, I was on a downward spiral. Failing health, no future, a feeling of overwhelming powerlessness. Now everything has been flipped upside down. A total paradigm shift. Paradigm shift. A bad ending is no longer the only option. I am actually looking forward to tomorrow. I forgot how that feels. Where it used to stand at mere seconds to midnight, the doomsday clock has been effectively turned off. Huh. I mean, when they started calling me this, when they started comparing me to Slanesh, they started comparing you guys to my demons, cause horn guns. A cool breeze brushes my cheek. As stupid as it sounds, I choose to read it as the world telling me to chin up. I can bend anyone to my will. I am capable of superhuman strength. I am a master of shadows. I can do anything. Tomorrow night, I will be introduced to my duties. If everything goes according to plan, I will become a New York City representative of Clan La Sombra. I have no idea what that is. Clan, a vampire's family tree. Specifically, those sharing common blood. Imagine everyone who is your blood relative. Everyone you can picture gather around the table at Christmas, all sharing the same strengths and afflictions. Might be harder to visualize when you come from a big family, but you're still probably only picturing a dozen people maximum. There are hundreds of vampires in a given clan, maybe more. Whoever they are, whatever that means, I have no idea what to expect. But tonight is tonight. But tonight is tonight. I'm free. All my worries from a month ago feel like they belonged to someone else. Finally, things are looking up. Second title screen, Shadows of New York. March 2022. Oh, it's been a year. Well, Julia became a vampire in June 2019. Back at it again at Big Beat Burger. Familiar sounds, familiar smells, familiar faces. Yet again, I'm recalling the night when everything finally seemed to change for the better. I mean, it's not like I wasn't expecting everything to go back to the old depressing normal. Even to think of it, the rational part of me recognized my state as temporary. But with these highs, there's always a hope it won't end. Or maybe that's an ego death. That an ego death will finally occur. Be satisfied, you stupid fucking bitch, I command you. Here's all the logical evidence that you should be satisfied. Here's the obvious direction for your life, and here's a detailed explanation of how you should treat the people that take care of you. I mean, if my friends are, if I do give in to my friends and accept that I am Slanesh, what does that make you? I'm not gonna accept I'm a Slanesh though. Even though they're telling me it's a losing battle. No dice. I always fall back into the same old habits. It's like they were encoded deep in my DNA. The aimlessness, the powerlessness, the spiritual exhaustion, these goddamn fast food trips. I'm guessing Julia has the eat food merit. The stupid fucking self-loathing, now amplified whenever I drink somebody's blood. We knew it would come to this. What? Come to what? Maybe I should just blame it all on the misfortune of my birth. You do this social climbing until you dissociate, and then you're just this untethered, constantly frustrated ball of dumb desires. Except, I'm sort of immortal right now, and I need to figure out what to do next. I watched this obscene Asian movie once, Eli Eli Lama Sabatini, starring Tadanobu Asano, one of the coolest guys in the world. He plays this Burn-like figure, a legendary noise musician. Is it too late to undo your mistake? We wear lies as armor. Like I said, I'm not accepting I'm Slanesh, even though all my Warhammer friends tell me I am Slanesh. The thing is, I still barely know anything about Slanesh. So, there's this mysterious virus spreading around the world, causing despair and mass suicides. A rich CEO's granddaughter gets sick and longs to die, so he spends a fortune searching for the cure. Turns out Asano and his friends played by this violent onsen geisha guy, are traveling through Japan, searching the corpse-strewn towns and fields for any unique item that can produce beautiful sounds. You are not, trust me, Jaws. Thanks. As it turns out, the Evergrade walls of noise they create are able to heal the infected. The CEO begs the band to help, offering them all the money they want, but for some reason they refuse. Through a series of flashbacks, concerts, and vignettes, a mystery unfolds. Did it involve elves? Eventually, we realized that Asano's music is not just a remedy. It's also a cause of the virus. Whenever it connects with people, they get this hunger for more extreme, more novel experiences. And eventually they hit a wall. Nothing can satisfy them anymore. They lose their will to live. Not even the musicians are spared from this curse. They know the end will come, sooner or later. You hate elves? When I play D&D, I have a habit of playing elves. The girl is saved by a mind-blowing concert, but the tragedy is merely postponed, not averted. The last shot of a Jesus-like Asano, silently considering his role as savior and destroyer, stayed with me. The form of film is abrasive, little to no narrative coherence, some weird cartoonish creative choices, the Japanese soundtrack, the very freeform and hard to understand weave of themes. But at this point, movies like this are all that truly connect with me. No, it's not that I'm an elf lover, I just find, I don't know, there's like a draw to them. If I'm not playing an elf, I'm playing like a half-elf. If I'm not playing that, I'm playing a tiefling or an SMR, but apparently tieflings and SMRs also have elvish ears. And if I'm not doing that, I'm doing custom lineage, and apparently my character has elf ancestry. So, I don't know. Maybe I find them relatable? But my Warhammer friends claim because I'm Slanesh, I'm drawing on the souls I ate. I'm like, I didn't eat any elves. Even if I did eat elves, how can I draw on their souls to take their personality and lives to play as my D&D characters? I'm the New York City representative for the Lasombra clan now, also known as the Night Clan. They are masters of shadows, who cast distorted reflections and make modern tech go haywire in their presence. Clan Lasombra, that's us, the Night Clan. Other kindred call us Magisters, Abyss Mystics, or Turncoats. If they want to drive home the fact that many Lasombra switched sex in recent years. The way Karen told the story, we used to be the brains behind the Sabbat, a pretty nasty group working in opposition to the Camarilla. They've since left for the Middle East, for the most part, but a sizable chunk of my clan opted out and changed sides. Traditionally, we were entrenched in the Catholic Church back in Europe, but not for mystical reasons. Our path was that of coercion and puppetry, so pulling the strings of important religious leaders was just a means to an end. It's not their personality and lives per se, it's more their essence. You don't become them, you just use them as substance. So are you agreeing with my friends that I'm using this quote-unquote elf lives to make my D&D characters? The Night Clan is also borderline Darwinian in their philosophy about embracing new members. The shittiest period of my life was fully orchestrated by Karen in order to see if I was good La Sombra material. They do not care for losers who just take it laying down. Then there's the dark. I'm still coming to grips with it. But apparently shadows aren't just the absence of lights to us. They're openings into some kind of hell, and we can wield them or even use them to contact the dead. The downside? We share a classic vampire feature in that we don't really have clear reflection. This also transfers to not playing well with cameras, and by extension, having issues with dealing with technology in general. I'm saying you're a heretic? But you follow me. Doesn't that make you a heretic yourself? Last year, a few months before I was embraced, the La Sombra had joined the Camarilla, the biggest, most traditional sect in the vampire world. Sect, a group of vampires tied not by lineage but ideology. The two most notable examples are the Anarchs and the Camarilla. Surprisingly, these two are in direct opposition and drifting further apart all the time. If you say so. The two groups actually used to fight each other, but our leaders found some intel that made them reconsider their strategy. So they sent a diplomatic mission to parley with their historical enemies. The deal they got in Chicago was simple: unlife for unlife. For every La Sombra vampire allowed in the Ivory Tower, one La Sombra vampire has to meet their ultimate end. The Ivory Tower, another name for the Camarilla, usually used in less official, occasionally derogatory contexts. I still remember the name of the woman who met her final death, so I could begin my unlife. Her name was Hazer Reed, a sworn enemy of the Camarilla, a guerrilla fighter who spent decades opposing them. Final death. Death for mortals is defined as the total castration of biological activities, but vampires, being undead, face two moments of dying. The first when their mortal lives ends, and a second final one when they truly cease to exist. Usually involves rapid decomposition of the body up to and including turning to dust if you're old enough, as if time has finally caught up with you. Is that the god of change? My Warhammer friends compare one of my brothers to him. My Warhammer friends also compare another one of my brothers to this god named Nurgle, and they compare my sister to Korn. It's apparently the way we act. I'm not gonna go into detail about my siblings. She was someone with far better principles than mine. From what I've gathered, well, whoever she was, her execution by my sire served to convince the NYC elites to give us La Sombra a chance. Then they set out to look for mutually agreed upon candidates who'd become the clan's rep in the city. My sire searched for someone who gave the impression she was more than she appeared. The local court was looking for someone they can walk all over. After long negotiations, they decided I was a good compromise. Court. The kindred hierarchy of rule. Basic fundamentalism by another name. You have a prince at the top, primogeniture beneath him or her, a sheriff who answers to the prince, and so on. Matters are handled at secret sanctuaries called Elysiums. Note, the structure applies at the city level. Beyond that, the Camarillus organization gets absurdly mesaltine. The Alpha Legion confuses him. Huh. They proceeded to systematically destroy my life, just to make me show I was psychologically strong enough to join their ranks. The turncoat special, they call it. Somehow, I succeeded. And eventually, led me right back to where I started. I stopped writing and put my pen down. It's her! She's back! The Scourge from the first game. Will that be all? Yes, Miss Dovane. I hope you enjoy your stay in London. Oh, I very much doubt I will. Just like every cultured person, I think the only good Englishman is a dead Englishman. At least you're headed there to kill some Duskborn you hate so much. Hey, wait. At least you're headed there to kill some of the Duskborn you hate so much. Thinbloods, cloudless vampires whose blood is so diluted that they are difficult to tell apart from humans. Minus the sunlight-branded crescent moon tattoos that they must bear in some domains to show their status. Thinbloods have been subjected to decades of pogroms, prejudice, and discrimination, but despite that, their numbers are currently growing. Their human passing appearance, coupled with their punishment for weird alchemy-style shenanigans, gives them the ability to thrive outside of kindred society. Bigotry and violence against Thinbloods are quite normalized by the kindred, to the point where it's not at all common to hear of them being killed or referred to as a threat to the Masquerade. So many retcons. There's been a retcon as of late that's got Twitter by storm, but it's kind of political, so I might not go into it. Funnily enough, NYC Camarilla acknowledges them and even offers them membership, but they're third-class citizens at best, and their representative in the Primogen is considered the butt of jokes at best, and a slap to the face of other council members at worst. Even though they supposedly have it better in this city than other Camarilla domains, when they step out of line, consciously or not, the verdict tends to be final death with barely a second thought. Sometimes referred to as weaklings or runoffs. Less vitriolic nicknames would include young ones, chameleons, or the Duskborn. How, they still have a Primogen? Again, it could be a new Primogen or it could be the old one. One of the benefits of being a scourge. If there's one thing this world is never in shortage of, it's loathsome runoffs who forfeit their right to live. Scourge. A very unpleasant person whose sole task is to hunt down vampires who are born wrong. Locally. That mostly means Thinbloods, subordinated directly to the prince. Uh, that will be all? Tell Kudir I said hello and farewell. Safe travels. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, psycho. Oh well. I'm the lonesome La Sombra in this town, and my representative role means jack shit. No title, no perks, no whatever. Right now, I'm the court's go-getter, doing all sorts of work nobody else will touch. My main duties? Being a sort of migration officer. See, New York is probably the biggest vampire travel hub in the US, and definitely the biggest one on the East Coast. Also, every kindred arriving from Africa and Europe comes through here. The local Camarilla is nuts about bureaucracy and population control, so every vampire leaving or arriving this town is supposed to check with me to inform me about their travels. Well, in theory at least, the VIPs play by different rules. They take care of this stuff through connections and servants. But for the smaller fish, I'm the vampire Statue of Liberty, the first bloodsucker every kindred coming to NYC should see. On paper, anyway. The first after the prince, or Quidir, the Primogenic Council, these things vary. Yeah, I'm naturally a traitorous La Sombra, so they still prefer being traditional and hands-on about these things. Prince, where the buck stops. The big boss of a given domain, usually a city. These are the kindred you don't want to cross. Those who have secured and held their claim against all other contenders. Prince is a gender-neutral term for vampires, hence NYC's head honcho, Helene Panhard, also calls herself that. The Primogenic Council. The prince's advisors, usually elders, though mostly younger so-called Enchile in NYC, who represent the interests of the local kindred. Traditionally, each major clan, faction, or sect would be given a place on the council. This framework naturally favors the Camarilla, though anyone can bring grievances to a primogen, not of their own clan. There are a few other rules governing who can become a primogen, but recent decades have seen the old pentagrams rapidly shifting. I can't read. Rapidly shifting. Locally, Prince Fanhard asks the council's advice often, but still secret that she mostly uses the primogen to confirm a course of action she's already made her mind up about. As I said, at the end of the day, I'm just a gopher, and this work only serves to remind me I'm not quite in, just standing at the gate. They haven't even given me an office. I just meet everyone in public places, such as coffee shops or this fast food restaurant. Some consider this an insult and lash out at me, but luckily most of them understand we're in the same boat. Only here because we're curs, who need to be reminded of our place from time to time. Speaking of, my last client is 15 minutes late, and I still have some errands to run tonight. This is getting irritating. To be honest, I should just find some self-respect and leave. But I won't. My sorry upbringing left me with this stupid sense of responsibility. 10 more minutes pass. Eventually, an unfamiliar woman appears by the door. She tells someone to stand by the door and walks in. Her chestnut hair, body stuck in her late teens, by the look of it, a fashionable scarf, covering most of her face, elegant clothes, dignified walk. See ya. Have fun. Relatable. Have fun. I signal her to sit in front of me, trying my best not to let my impatience show. She obliges. You're here to check in? I am. Julia Swanowski, I presume. She's scanning her surroundings like we're at a circus. I hope you won't mind if I make it quick. I'm needed in Elysium. Name? Elysium, a courthouse for vampires, or a designated peaceful place we can go to seek resolution. Often hidden in plain sight, in notable public buildings, also used by mortals, such as museums, art galleries, and landmark government offices. NYC is pretty typical in this respect, as the Card Elysium is a gallery in Queens called the Art Hall. Catherine Ways. Huh. I swear I've heard that name before. Someone else's description of her crosses my mind. The weird lady who owns the art hall, but is never there? Weird. So it is her. Catherine Ways, the owner of the art hall, the de facto headquarters of the New York City Camarilla. For fuck's sake, Julia. What are you doing calling her weird right off the bat? God knows you've already made a fool of yourself in front of enough VIPs in the city. Recover. Sorry, it's just that I still don't know many people there, so I have to go by descriptions. By the descriptions I'm given by members of the Primogen. While the description is mostly correct. Outside of that one word that slightly reflects me, pot calling the kettle black seems like. From what I gathered, it's just that your interests are rumored to be not fully aligned with the Camarillas and irk some folks up there. Being keeper of the Elysium is not enough for some. I see. Being the keeper of Elysium is not enough for some, I see. I suspect as much. But what can you do? She seems chill. Good. Anyway, Catherine Ways. Wow. Yes. Want me to spell it? People often have trouble getting it right. Forgive my indiscretion. It's just that people of your stature usually don't bother checking in with me. They usually report their arrival to one of the Primogen, and they make all the arrangements. I heard Prince Fanhard is busy with preparations for her big party. I assumed if I spared her some paperwork, she'd appreciate it as a gesture of goodwill. Besides, I wanted to meet the infamous Lasarba representative out of sheer curiosity. My interest piqued once I heard about her. She looks around knowingly. Unique circumstances. Yes, Prince Helene Panhard had trouble justifying the exorbitant rent my property would need. That's literally pennies for her. And as far as I know, she's been sitting on an empty property since last year. Looks like they've got it out. It looks like they've got it out for you. Bad. That's what I assumed. But it's nice to get confirmation. Well, it's not like my clan has always been particularly popular in these parts. At least that's what I've heard, since of the father and so on. Yes. Just to make sure, you've met Haster? But you know her? Wait. Wait, let me reread that. Yes. Just to make sure, you've never met Haster, but you know of her. I do know I wouldn't be here if not for her. Have you two met? No, I only heard of her once or twice. We had similar outlooks on many issues, although we tend to come up with completely different solutions. In any case, I think it's meaningful that Heuser died so that you could live. They feared her, now they fear you, and that's why they're keeping you down. If anyone who's not a VIP said this to me, I'd laugh in their face. Oh, I get what she's doing. She's trying to buy my favors. Best not to act... Something went into my throat! Oh my gosh. Best not to act like I'm easy to please. Stick to business. Time will tell. In the meantime, I'll need you to help me out with my documentation. Of course. So, where are you coming from? Washington, D.C. She says it the way people in Hollywood movies say it. The way that suggests her Washington is wildly different from the Washington you and I would see. I can't relate. I'm Australian. What were you doing there? Take a guess. Government work? Write that down. It ought to amuse Helene a little bit. If you say so. Date and hour of arrival? She takes out a plane ticket and slides it towards me. It's all here. 1 a.m. Got it. Method of transit, plane. Purpose of visit? Meeting with the prince. Ought to work just fine. I guess. Estimated duration of visit? Undefined. Write in 6 months if you really need to. Place of accommodation? Conditions of intended stay? The art hole. Conditions should be adequate. You tell me. I tend to be happy with Airbnb. Home sweet home? I'm not certain I ever felt particularly at home here. That makes 2 of us. Curious. Do you have nothing holding you here? The face of a blonde-haired friend appears in my mind's eye, then vanishes. There's nothing holding me anywhere. I see. A prolonged silence. She stares into my eyes, and I return the stare. She's studying me. It's unnerving, but I do the best not to turn away. Eventually, she smiles. Didn't you say you were short on time? Oh god, yes. Kadir will kill me. I quickly begin to collect my stuff from underneath the table. You could simply inform him I paid you a visit. He'll understand. He'll pass it on to everyone who should be in the know. Do you need anything else? I'm fine. I was about to ask you that myself. You're the one asking questions here. That's all from me. Good. We will see each other soon, I hope. The party tomorrow night? Wasn't invited. She gives me a pitiful look. I understand. Well, if not, given the opportunity, you should make your own. I'll be in touch. Good night, Miss Weiss. I wish you a pleasant visit. Good night. Don't rush these things. You've got your whole on life ahead of you, and you're in a position where you can easily take it easy. Take your time, get a different perspective. I nod and slowly walk out the door. When I lose sight of the restaurant, I sprint toward the subway. Slow night. It's the boy! He has a ponytail now. I wish. You're late again. You're late again, by the way. I hope you have a good excuse. Sheriff, an anointed officer who enforces the prince's ethics, and if Quidor is in any measure a real stick in the mud. A sheriff hunts down traitors and violators of the traditions. Only the greatest offenders are typically apprehended and brought back to be judged in front of an assembled court. In lesser cases, sheriffs act as judge, jury, and executioner. Quidir al-Asame. I probably said that wrong, like I did in Coteries. The mighty sheriff of New York City is not happy with me. No wonder. I met him in front of Elysium 30 minutes later than the time we had agreed on. Yeah, well, Catherine fucking Glaze decided to arrive fashionably late. A likely story. She's supposed to be out of the city. If you think I'm pulling your leg, boss, feel free to check my report. Ugh. That thing's still bothering my throat. I pass him all of the official papers, the way I do every other night. Kadir stares me down for a few seconds, then his steely gaze softens. You're serious? Oh wow, they just outright call it McDonald's. You're serious? Waits in McDonald's with the mask and elegant clothes surrounded by the smell of french fries and hamburger patties? That must have been one hell of a sight. Technically it's BBB, not McDonald's, but yeah. God, I made such a fool of myself. First thing I did, I quoted somebody calling her a weirdo. I wanted to die on the spot. Serves you right, you walking flux pus. I've been trying to teach you to control your tongue, but you never listen. It's a new grave every week with you. Still, there's good news and bad news. The good news is Catherine has a fondness of vampires of humble beginnings. Probably why she decided to see you in your, shall we say, natural habitat. She's one of those rich ass... Wait, where did I get the rich... oh, there. I read ahead. She's one of those rich art scene assholes who seek out working class cred. I did say something about watching your tongue. The bad news is, she is very astute. She can recognize a moron like you straight away. You never stood a chance at impressing her. Oh, shut up. You still need me for anything here? I'll get it straight away. I'll get on it straight away. I wouldn't be standing here chatting with you if I hadn't taken up my duties. 30 minutes is all it took to finish preparations for the big party. I'm about to see everyone off. Sorry. Couldn't be helped. I suppose it's more your loss than mine. I just wanted some company tonight, and you could really use the chance to appear here on official duties, so everyone could get to know your face. Heaven knows your fast food job isn't going to get you anywhere. You need to, what do they call it? Hassle. You don't need to tell me that, but it's not like being paraded around for a bunch of blue-blooded douchebags is. He somehow manages to give me a painful nudge in the back without as much as a hint of visible movement. Language. You fouled. They're coming out. Just stand here in silence for 5 minutes and focus on not embarrassing yourself any further, will you? Got it. The first two silhouettes appear in the doorway of the art hall. An old man in a wheelchair, pushed forward by his young servant. Haven't seen either of them before. Mr. Payne, the night is still young. Hope you find the rest of it pleasant. Payne, the wheelchair. I've heard about him. Addison Payne, one of the American Camarilla's main connections to the government and Wall Street, disabled in quite a few ways, needs a servant to communicate. I'd it, I'd be full of resentment if I was embraced in this condition, but apparently Payne is nothing but grateful for his immortality. He keeps writing fervent defenses of the traditions and Camarilla customs. Hope you're enjoying your stay in New York City. His wordlessness shakes Whittier's hand but doesn't even deign to acknowledge me. At least his servant gives me a small bow. I return it. They leave. Whittier turns to the next person leaving. Hi, Regent. Can't wait to see you in your outfit. Hey, Ainsley's back. Spare me, Sheriff. These fancy dress-up parties cost me enough suffering without your help. I can only hope you haven't conspired with Helene to embarrass me with this gift. She points to a shrink-wrapped set of clothes she's carrying inside her coat. Whittier smirks briefly. I don't have to. As you well know, Prince Panhard displays a considerable foresight in the matter of party planning. Yes, if there's one thing she's deadly serious about, it's frivolities. A recognizably mortal quality, especially for a prince. We ought to celebrate it, not oppose it. Don't worry, Sheriff. I'm a big girl who knows her etiquette. I will play your game, amuse the crowd a bit, and return to my study as fast as possible. Ainsley Sturbridge, High Regiment of the Chantry of the Five Bureaus, a hero of the Battle of New York, the biggest warlock in town, could be a prince herself if she didn't have her eyes on a bigger prize. Regiment. The principals at the schoolhouse of the Tremere, also known as chantries. Every chantry has a regiment who oversees the education of all the Tremere in attendance there. Regiments may also hold positions on the Primogen Council and be active in the clan's strategic defenses. Chantry, where Tremere hang out. A lots of crusty book and smoking beakers type of place, I imagine. Clan Tremere, named after the 8th century Hermetic mage whose followers, for a brief period, terrorized the world. Period. The members of Clan Tremere today are only able to practice their reality-bending terminological arts after consuming fresh blood. This is because the Tremere of old fucked up in their relentless pursuit of immortality and were condemned. They have recently fallen into a great chasm of competing houses, all vying for the title of rightful heir to their namesake's legacy. All about the rare ancient artifact life. Nicknames include warlocks, hemtics, or transgressors. The thing is, nobody knows what the prize is. They only know it has something to do with the goal of her terminological research. Whoever tried to find out what it is failed violently. Oh, and I'm sure you're going to have fun. Miss Swinsky here has just informed me Catherine Ways is back in town. It is safe to assume she will join our festivities. You're kidding me. Her negative reaction intrigues me, so I decide to give her another nudge. She told me to send her regards and absolutely can't wait to catch up. Cheeky. The hint of torment in her face is less than I was counting for, but it will do. Ways. Excellent. I'd like to catch up with her. The barely concealed venom in her voice clearly suggests that in fact she'd hate to catch up with her. Yes, looks like tomorrow night will be special, but for now, I bid you adieu. And she's gone. Is there some kind of story between Aisling and Ways that I should be aware of? The part about sending regards was a bold-faced lie, wasn't it? An innocent one. Overselling someone's courtesies is just good etiquette. You're unbelievable. Well, I doubt High Reginald Sturbridge took it as a courtesy, considering she once attempted to call for a bloodhunt on Ways. Bloodhunt, a punishment sentencing a vampire to final death at the fangs of their peers. The core of the kindred and the system for punishing transgressions is the law of retaliation. Wow, why? I've heard 5 different versions of the story, and all of them seem plausible. Catherine's relationship with this city is odd, to say the least. But hush for now. It's obvious he's obviously trying to kill the conversation, and the appearance of Thomas Ontario gives him a perfect way out. Mr. Ontario, it's him again. The mastermind in coteries. Ah. Al Asame. Keep up the good work, eh? Of course. Thomas Ontario, an architect by trade, he's a herald, a member of Prince Panhard's inner circle, an eccentric whose thoughts seem to be 10 times faster than his words. Harpy, a kindred gossip master extraordinaire, will often trade their wisdom for favors or political gain. While Harpy originated as an insult, some have taken the term back and wear it as a badge of pride. After all, who doesn't need a friend who has dirt on everyone? Who doesn't need a friend who has dirt on everyone? Yep. Take care of the way to your haven, Mr. Ontario. Haven. A girl has to hide from the sun somewhere, right? That tends to be at Dakota's place for me lately. Nobody's likely to randomly stumble upon me while I sleep there. Wait, is Dakota? I know Dakota is Julia's girlfriend, but is she like Julia's cornerstone? Or I forgot what it was called. He disappears into the night. Well, that was brief. Maybe I should stand in their way. That might force them to properly acknowledge my existence. You severely underestimate your dedication to ignoring whelps like you. Their dedication. Well, not much different to the archaeological human usage. Whelp is how you refer to your kid when they're fucked up. Kidare loves to use it to put me down from time to time. And in case you're serious, I beg of you, don't. I've been meaning to ask you for a while now, but never had the opportunity. You really hate Antonio's guts, don't you? He carefully measures his diplomatic response. I have no strong feelings towards Thomas Antonio whatsoever. Very well, considering you're always listing positives about every Camarilla representative under the moonlight, you might as well have called him a cunt. Language help. Welp. And as for Antonio, I will share my opinions with him as soon as I come up with one that sticks with for more than a week. A group of kindred emerges from the art hall, rushing towards the street. Only a noble-looking woman stops next to us. She's wearing a hijab, but curiously enough, doesn't hide her hair beneath it. Primogen? If you were rude enough to stare, you'd quickly notice the cloth serves mostly to cover up her horrifying scars. Samara. Kadir, oh, and young Julia. I'm doing my best not to stare because Samir is one of the few NYC Camarilla figures who hasn't been an asshole to me yet. Still here? Did the prince require the clan of Hunts cancel in some manner? Clan Banu Hakim. The Banu Hakim called Assamites in the past, but that's basically a slur at this point, are a new addition to the Camarilla, only having joined a few years ago. Before that, they were independent from both Cams and Anarchs. They were used as assassins for hire. Supposed to be very good at the job too. Nowadays, it looks to me like they're rebranding themselves as keepers of the law, which still gives them the occasional chance to hunt somebody down, but no longer for payment in blood, as used to be in tradition, or at least not overtly. A member of the clan that I know well, Samira, is pretty cagey about this aspect of the Banu Hakim. But I've learned from a few other sources that the members of the clan have a bit of drinking problem. Once they tasted another kindred's blood, they find it hard to stop. Inclusion in the Camarilla seems to have stirred some discontent among the Tremere. As a layman also uses a form of blood sorcery to boost their abilities and observe different rituals, some of them clearly religious motivated, owing to no part to the fact that the clan has been traditionally tied to Islam and the Middle East in general. That was a lot to read. It didn't help that I'm slowly losing energy. Yes, I advised her that no matter how hard she tries, she won't expect me to wear a different costume tomorrow night. She's the Banu Hakim Primogen. Just like the La Sombra, their clan are independent from the Camarilla until... Well, the La Sombra wasn't too independent, they were with the Sabbat. Until relatively recently. However, they negotiated a better deal than we did. They have a Primogen for one. Hailing from the Middle East, the Banu Hakim are drawn to the practice of justice. The rules must be upheld, and every transgression punished. They don't have much say in NYC, but the prince often seeks their judgment. It's just good PR. I trust she was understanding. Those are beautiful clothes. Thank you so much. I am eager to see the outfit you came up with. And how are you, Julia? Have you seen any lights at the end of the tunnel? Same old, Samara. Still wandering in the dark, bumping my shin every 2 steps. Sorry to hear that. I trust you're pestering the prince and your superiors to improve your standing. Wait, that should be a question. Sorry to hear that. I trust you're pestering the prince and your superiors to improve your standing. It's a process. Oh, Julia, you won't achieve anything if you don't reach for it. Quidir, weren't you supposed to teach her the ropes? I'm trying to, Primogen, but with this child, it's always a process. I can only wish you good luck then. Good night, Julia. Good night, Quidir. Good night. Have a safe trip. The art hall is mostly empty by now. You like her, don't you? Stop with the class clown act, whelp. It only serves to reveal deep insecurities. Wow, that's harsh. It's factual. Were I harsh, as you claim? She did tell us both to call her Samara, but you're still keeping your distance with that Primogen shit. Watch your profanity, and don't project your fantasy onto me. I won't give you a lesson about professional boundaries, but I suspect the way you eventually learn, it will be extremely unpleasant. You're new. Carter Vanderworld, and am I interrupting something good, folks? Even though I'm constantly pestering him, Hadir's composure is unshaken. His response comes swift and unfazed. No, Mr. Vanderwayden. That's a mouthful. Heading back to your office? You know me, Sheriff. Where else would I go? He was very obviously a Malkavian. That's curious. Even though Carter Vanderwayden, I think it's Way, it's a Primogen as well. Malkavian to be precise. I don't hear Quidir address him as such. Clan Malkavian, the Clan of the Moon, has earned its reputation as a place of total psychopaths. Yet, there is a twisted kind of reason to the madness of the children of Malkov. Their condition seems to stem from gazing too deeply into the web of connections that govern the world. From learning too much, seeing too much, feeling too much, blood is how they self-medicate. All Malkavians suffer a mental breakdown following their embrace. Often this is an exacerbation of a disorder or disorders that are already present, but sometimes it's entirely new. Best described as unstable, there is no telling when a Malkavian will snap or drop some unexpectedly wise insight. Cold oracles, jesters, or visionaries, if you're being nice. Madman, liabilities, and lunatics if you're not. Hope to see you tomorrow night. Oh, I will absolutely show up, provided I can. But just in case, I already apologize for not making it to the prince, simply drowning in work these days. The rhythms, tempo, and intonation patterns of his voice are so familiar. Half of it sounds like JFK, the other half sounds exactly like Barack Obama. Just like his appearance, it all seems so fake. He's old money, of course. Comes from a long line of Dutch merchants who originally settled in New York. In the New York region. Sorry, I'm just fixing something really quick. Runs a wildly successful law office, rubs elbows with elites of both kindred and kin varieties alike. Kin, a derogatory way for vampires to refer mortals, comes from kindred and Cain. Just remember that Cain rhymes with swine. Oh. Cain. Cain rhymes with swine, and you get the picture. You will get the picture. He seems perfect in every way, but that's why he's so unnerving. He's a child of Malcolm and must be blighted with some affliction, or whatever it is. He doesn't let it show. Hard not to wonder what he's hiding. Celebrations are planned to last all week. Surely you will find time. I pray I will. My good man. I pray I will. In case you need to reach me, you know where to find me. Have a good one. He doesn't even register my presence before leaving. Sometimes I think they're all still hoping I will simply go away. As Carter drives away in his limousine, Quadir shakes his head. You wanted to hear which member of New York City's cabaret I dislike the most? Yes. He shoots me a knowing glance and smirks. Too bad they're all my dear colleague, and I deeply respect every one of them. Sure you do. Won't want to blurt out something that could lock you out of Mr. Vander Weyden's legal services, would you? You ass kisser. I do expect myself in need of a good defense attorney when my broke, incompetent, and foul-mouthed assistant finally pushes me over the edge. Rude. Do you still need me here? I still need to swing by St. Patrick's tonight. Don't worry, we're almost done. The prince is coming out. The captain is the last to leave the ship, huh? And there she was, Helene Panhard, the big kahuna, as someone I once knew would call her, the de facto leader of New York City, and a self-proposed patron of the arts. Quadir, a penny for your thoughts? I should be pleased to hear the High Regent is resigned to her fate, my prince. Mr. Vander Weyden is decidedly not. I suspect he will be too busy to join the festivities all week, though. Excellent. She turns to me. Miss Sawolski, weren't you supposed to accompany your good sheriff in his duties tonight? Yes, there was an unexpected change of plans. Karine Ways is back in the city. Karine is here? Now that's a welcome surprise. But what does that have to do with you, Miss Sawolski? She said she didn't want to trouble you with all the paperwork regarding her arrival, Prince Fanhard. It's all been taken care of. Quadir has already been informed of everything. That's certainly a nice gesture, but wait a minute. Now, where exactly did you meet her? In a fast food restaurant, my prince. I see. Helene rubs her eyes. Catherine and her love of Perlithian amusements. I suppose it will be a source of amusing anecdotes this week. If we want to avoid these situations in the future, it might be a good time to discuss offering Miss Swansky an office of her own. We'll get to it eventually. There are more pressing matters at hand. The festivities start tomorrow, and there's still so much to be done. Will you make sure the art hall is secure before leaving? Certainly, my prince. Have a good night. Good night, Quittier. Good night, Miss Swansky. We'll talk about your work soon. Don't worry. Of course. Good night, Prince Vanhard. A chauffeur escorts her to a limo. There's an awkward silence between me and Quittier until the car disappears around the corner. More pressing matters, huh? A penny for thoughts, Sheriff? I'm certain an image of a keeper of Elysium stuck in a fast food restaurant will linger in Prince Vanhard's mind. You're far closer to your goal than you were a few minutes ago. I'm pretty sure you've heard something to that effect a few times now. I stand by my words. Rome wasn't built in a day, Julia. As a Camarilla loyalist, don't you think it sucks that the Ivory Tower is so hell-bent on showing disrespect to my clan? They're actually willing to make fools of themselves in the process? We've all had to endure our own hazy rituals, but yes, the current situation is the ideal. Whatever. You need help closing up the Elysium? I'll manage. It's getting late. Better run. Some shadow in Chicago is probably impatient to get a copy of the reports you've given me. You've pleased one master, now it's time to please the other. Yeah, here's the thing about working for two masters. Neither of them really thinks of you as their own. Not knowing how to reply, Quittier shrugs. I wave to him goodbye and head to the subway. When I reach St. Patrick's Cathedral, I'm greeted by a voice that greets on me like teeth on tinfoil. Well, the prodigal daughter returns. Oh my god, no. This is one of the few things I didn't want to happen. Ilya, please. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Wait, let me reread that. Ilya, please, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Where's Father Leonard? His clergy duties kept him from getting here on time. He sent me to apologize in his name and keep you company for a few minutes. That's the second thing he ought to apologize for. He just wants his flock to live in unity. I am more than willing to oblige him. Why won't you? For last time, I'm not part of his flock. We have purely professional arrangement. We have a purely professional arrangement. I know you see it that way. The Night City's tendency to stick close to the Catholic Church is their greatest virtue, but they still consider this relationship purely instrumental. This is why we need kindred like you to bring the spiritual change to your clan, to make them understand God's precious gifts. The closer you get to the light, the greater their shadows would become. Again with his insufferable sermonizing. Banot Siegel here is a local nutjob and ex-artist, a degenerate who had some sort of complete mental breakdown in the 90s. To recover, he took to religion for solace and guidance. Clan Toreador, the most artistic of the kindred. The Toreador draw their ranks from the creative class, ranging from artists to digital content creators. The Clan of the Rose boasts many former famous artists, singers, writers, dancers, and even loaded sex workers. The goal is, of course, only to fill the Toreador clan with the best of the best. But its shallow fixation on youth, beauty has caused many hasty decisions. Probably more one-hit wonders under their roof than they care to admit. Also, plenty of insufferable divas and influencers. But here's one of them. But surprisingly, he doesn't show many of their regular traits. Maybe other than keeping himself infectiously slick at all times. At first he proclaimed his readiness to devote the rest of his unlife to studying Nodism. After a few years though, he changed his mind and joined the Catholic Church instead. Nodism. The religious beliefs and studies pertaining to the origins of kindred and the myth of Cain, the alleged OG vampire. As luck would have it, his nebulizing seal found a major target in me. When I first met him, I was stupid enough to tell him I was raised Catholic and still identify as such, somewhat. He immediately pictured me as some sort of force for change within the Camarilla, and set out to put me back on the righteous path. Now he won't stop preaching to me. Apparently until I become a nun. Remember, the darkest places is directly beneath the candle. You turncoats have this unfortunate predisposition to find salvation right within your grasp, and then lose your way in the shadows. Christ, once he starts, he won't stop. I guess it's time to bring out the big guns. By the way, I was meaning to ask, got any news about Sophie Langley? Ooh, so I don't think anyone knows she's dead. A painful grimace crosses his face, but doesn't linger. Kind of rude to change the subject, you know. Rude? I'm just looking for a topic both sides of this conversation. Wait, rude? I'm looking for a topic both sides of this conversation would care about. You know, like any guide on etiquette says you should. Salvation is a topic close to anyone's heart, whether they admit it or not, and it's pretty bold of you to assume I still care about Langley. I do not assume. I'm certain you do. The second she retires from the public eye, you stop acting like Yeezus-era Kanye and start acting like Jesus is King-era Kanye. Coincidence? I've never had a Yeezus era. Do people really call it that? Here's how it's going to work. Tell me what you know. I'll tell you what they say. And keep in mind, I didn't know she was your sire until a few nights ago. Hell, I haven't even met her. He winches a bit, saying hell. He winches at me a bit, saying hell, but lets it go. Sure, I figure you would have prod that wood long ago if you knew. But what do you care anyway? Better to let you drone on about your tormented past than let you carry on with your good missionary stick. Professional curiosity. Once a journalist, always a journalist. He scratches his head, then exhales in a sad mockery of a chuckle. Fine, then I'll do my best to make it short. Just like you said, Sophie Langley, every New York's kindred's beloved socialite, my sire. We first met sometime after World War II. I left France right before the Nazis went around the Marglet line. I struggled to keep my siblings alive with my art. Watch my brother die from the flu epidemic of 43. I was close to losing my mind. That's when she showed up. Said the sheer torment in my work caught her eye. She became my patron, allowed my talents to flourish, and supported me financially. Eventually, she embraced me. My second screen is glitching. As a well-off kindred, my artistic interests started to naturally deter from what they used to be back when I was a poor mortal upstart. I began to see the world the way her social circle does. And that she couldn't forgive. Instead of being a fun novelty, I became just another part of a malaise surrounding her. She grew distant and stopped seeing me altogether. I've had my share of breakdowns because of this. I won't deny that. I locked myself out of my career opportunities. I locked myself out of many career opportunities, but it was an important lesson. Don't trust your elders. Vampirism affects them psychologically as well. If they take interest in you, they won't stop until they suck your soul dry, and then discard you like a broken toy. Elder. A few centuries of life will net you this big kindred milestone. An elder is only considered an elder after outlasting his or her fellow vampires for roughly 200 years. By then, they will have learned the rules of the great metagame of Gerard. The vast hidden war, waged for ages, between the ancient undead. Elders are the chess masters. The rest of us are only the pieces. Yada yada. For the first time I've known him, Sigil registers to me as something other than a Bible-thumping nuisance. Is it compassion I feel? Do I find him relatable? How dreadful. It's possible he's strategically trying to elucidate sympathy. Maybe he heard about my dramatic exit from Lone Star, or maybe he's just alluding to the way my sire left me here to fend for myself. It is only God who will never lead you astray. This is why I find your act so frustrating, Julia. You're so close to getting it, but you choose sin instead. There's the Bannock Sigil I know. Almost had me fooled. Let's get back on track. What about Langley's disappearance from the city? Her path was to predation. Wherever she ended up, I doubt she's too happy about it. She had plans for the future of the city, wanted to make it her ultimate artwork. She She was always the vain one. So no one knows Sophie's dead. And of course, you're completely sure you have nothing to do with her disappearance? Please, don't tell me you're getting at what I think you're getting at. Everyone says you've been acting like you're trying to repent for something ever since her vanishing act. And you've got a motive. Of course I'm getting at what you think I'm getting at. Bennett shakes his head. Wait, he's French, so... Bennett? I'll find out after stream. You really have the devil in your heart, Julia. Always testing me. Just asking what everyone's thinking. Are they now? Listen, I'm familiar with a lot of the insults attached to my name in this city. Those aren't exactly compatible with the image of a ruthless killer. Killer, huh? Now that's interesting. I haven't said anything about killing. He scrubs his head over his forehead and collects himself before responding. Stop picking apart every word I say in this completely unpleasant way. Here's a statement if you really want one. Miss Hercule Perrot. I do believe Sophie, the way I knew her, has met her end. Even if she's still walking this earth, she wouldn't come back as the same prideful aristocrat. She'd have to undergo a spiritual rebirth. Someone has reminded her of her place. Her former friends talk of her in hushed voices. Even that servant playtoy of her went missing. Oh! A protagonist of Coteries. And from what Heba told me, they leave it vague. They don't even tell you your old character's clan or gender. No more Camarilla parties. She's done for. Whatever happened to her, I don't know. I swear on Jesus and his sandals, I had nothing to do with it. But yes, I'm still here and she's not, and it's not a reason to gloat, but to be more humble. I received a sign from God telling me to re-examine all the unfortunate ways I still resemble Sophie lately, and I listened. I rejected the pride I shared with her. I renewed my vows to God, recommitted to preaching his greatness. I mean, this is why we're having this conversation in the first place. Right now, when I think of Laylee's influence in my life, I am grateful because she was a sign that got me here. And if God wills it, maybe one day you'll look at her the same way, Julia. Mental note, whenever he circles back to his preachy tone, it's time to intervene. Alright. If it makes you feel any better, I think that the only way a wimp like you could have hurt her was by boring her to death with Bible quotes. Now then, quid pro quo, tit for tat. You were saying people still talk about me. I was curious if... Oh look, who's finally here. Stalling for time warp. Father Leonard rushes in our direction, carrying a folder of documents under his arm. I assume it's the one I came here for. Father Leonard? He looked like a Chad. Wow. Christ be praised, Julia. Yesterday, I was told this is how priests greet their practitioners in Eastern Europe. Forever and ever, amen. Actually, I think we said each other's lines. Never mind. Another long night? Isn't it taking a toll on you? Oh, no need to worry. These days, I sleep a few hours a day, short naps taking care of the rest, and there's always work to be done. I apologize for being late. At least I managed to get... Wait, At least I managed to get here before you and Bennett went for each other's throats. Good. I was getting worried. Oh, who do you take me for, Father? He takes you for a total bozo who's about as effective at converting people as documenting about pedophilia in the Catholic Church. He's just too kind to not to say it out loud. Ouch. Hear what I have to deal with, Father? But don't worry. We'll make a saint out of her yet. Forget saint. For now, I'd settle for an adult in the room. And with that, I'm ending the stream. I hope you guys had fun. This is unique. Like, it still feels a little bit like Code Race, but it feels a lot more fleshed out. Now I understand why this game's a lot more popular than the first game. But yeah, tomorrow I'll be playing Blood Hunt, also Vampire the Masquerade, and we're still trying to save that researcher. So I hope you guys had fun, enjoy the rest of the day, and I hope I see you guys tomorrow. Bye!